Good morning, everybody. My name is Joanna McClory. I'm part of the Xero team, as Daniel has already said, and I'm also a bookkeeper for Hanny Barrett. I've been working on Xero for quite a while now, and I use it for most of my clients. And what I'm going to talk about today is an application that connects to Xero and is called HabDog. HabDog is already integrated with Xero. You don't have to necessarily use it together with Xero. However, it is very convenient to have it synchronized with your Xero data. HabDog is available with all the standard Xero subscriptions. You don't need to pay anything extra for using it. It's already available. And we'll do a little demonstration on how to actually use it. The whole point of the application is basically to simplify your day-to-day bookkeeping. It's an application that helps you process your invoices, be it sales invoices or purchase invoices, and any business receipts that you might have. And I'll show you in a minute how to do it in various ways. HabDog uses AI technology, which basically helps the software remembers all the postings made already within HabDog. And it sort of repeats the process. So next time when you come to use it again, be it next week or next month, it will remember your previous postings and it will automatically apply certain criteria to your postings. So how we use it is I'm going to share my screen and show you how I would do it within sort of from the Xero screen. So let me just swap to my Xero. Hopefully you can see my screen now. I'm already logged into my Xero account. This is like a demo company that we use for demonstrations. And where we would find HabDog, you can either just go open another page in your browser and type habdog.com, or you can click on your dashboard, and here there's a handy link to the HabDog application. We'll click that, and I've got a whole list of clients. You would probably just see the name of your own company. And I'm going to go into HabDog. This is what you see when you first log in. So that will be several tabs here that your paperwork will sort of, once it's sent to HabDog, it will be found here. And how do we actually get information into HabDog in the first place? We can do it in various ways, and we've got they're quite simple and very user-friendly. So we can either click here on upload document if we've got any, be it, let's say, if we've got sales invoices that we create in Word document, for example, rather than creating them in Xero. Some businesses do that. Let's say we could then upload all of them into HabDog, process them via HabDog, and then they will sync into Xero. They will appear automatically in your Xero sales ledger. You could also upload any invoices from the suppliers that you might have saved somewhere on your computer, and we can either browse here for paperwork. So if let's say I've got some invoices saved here in the PDF or Word document. It doesn't really matter what the format is. I mean, PDF will probably work best. I can then click on the document, and it will automatically appear in HabDog, and it will be ready for you to process. If we have a document where we've got loads of pages scanned together, but we want to process them separately, we can click on multi-page PDF split and then upload the document in the same manner, and HabDoc will split each page. It will show each page separately. So that's quite handy if you've got a lot of physical paperwork that you want to quickly input into the software. We can also, there's also a very handy feature to use an email address, and each HabDoc user will have a HabDoc email address that we can forward the information to. So you can go to your inbox, forward the message directly to this email address. You click copy address, put it into your inbox, forward the information to HabDoc, and it will automatically again appear on the list for processing. Another way of getting information into HabDoc will be to use the app. There is also an app that you can download onto your phone. You can either do it from Google Play or Apple. And Apple Store, and I'm going to show you quickly what the app looks like, because it is a very handy feature. It's a free app, it's fairly basic, and it's very easy to use, but it can be really handy for especially when we're on the go. We've got lots of receipts, little small bits of paper that we just want to send to HabDoc immediately rather than worry about it later, or we just don't want to lose anything. And how we use the app, I'm going to try and show you on my phone. Let me just mirror I'm just going to mirror my screen. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Within your, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the HabDoc app. I've got it here, and it's very simple. Once you log in, you will be able to click on the little plus button at the bottom and simply either select from the library, or you can take a photo of the receipt that you want to include. So let me just give you an example, and I'm going to take a photo, and then we can, oh, there you go, that's my messy desk. And we can simply take a picture of the invoice or receipt or any information that you want to forward to HabDoc, and we're going to upload it straight in. It literally takes seconds. It's already done it. You can see it. It's the top document, and that's pretty much it. And if I'm going to show you now, go back to my HabDoc. Hopefully it should be there straight away. And now we can see that the document that I've just uploaded, it's already there on our list. That's going to be the case with anything that you upload to that HabDoc. It can be invoice, receipts, any sort of information that you might want to include in your Xero data. It's advisable to have, obviously, if you can, attach PDF versions of your invoices and receipts to your transactions in Xero. That's very, very handy. Plus, saves you on looking through all your physical paperwork or checking your emails. It will be already there, attached to transaction in Xero. So we've got our information imported, and how do we go about it now? What do we do with it now? You can see that the HabDoc screen is sort of, you can see the document that you've just uploaded, and now on the right hand side we've got these two boxes, essentially the top part is the details of the transaction, which are sort of related to HabDoc. That this is what's going to remain in HabDoc, and sort of we have to choose the document type that we think that is. So we might have an invoice statement. If there's a distinction between sales invoices and purchase invoices here. So if this is a purchase invoice, and I would just click on invoice here. But if that was a sales invoice, I would go down a little bit to invoice AR, accounts receivable. That will be your sales invoices. And then the software knows where to direct it into your Xero. So in this case, HabDoc didn't pick up a lot of detail from my invoice, but if we swap to the other one that I uploaded from my computer, you can see that we already have some of the boxes populated here. And the more information you upload into HabDoc, the more it's going to remember, and it's going to apply the same rules to the following postings. So hopefully, in this case, we haven't got that many invoices uploaded, but it still managed to pick up the things like the date, the total amount, actually, that one. But we can always customize any of these postings. So we would choose an invoice here. The supplier is HB demo. Yeah, we can leave it like that, or you can change the name if you want to. Our invoice number is 234556. We actually haven't got a date on this particular one, but let's say we'll just leave it as it is. You can input all the information manually, and then we've got the total, the tax rate. It's quite important to pick the tax rate here, and to pick it correctly. So depending on what tax rate was used, this one is straightforward, 20% VAT on expenses. So we've got the top bit already populated, and now at the bottom of the screen, this is the destination screen where we would tell HabDoc where to direct this particular invoice into in Xero. And we have a choice of publishing it as a purchase or an invoice if it's a sales invoice. We can also choose a credit note if that's the case, or spend money transaction. Let me just do purchase invoice first. So this one will be going to the purchase ledger. We can send it directly to awaiting approval or awaiting payment if we're happy for it to go straight there. If we choose awaiting payment, it will automatically be matched to bank reconciliation transactions if the payment has already happened. We can also save it to draft if we want to review it, or awaiting approval. That's again, that will be waiting for you in that tab in purchase ledger. We have to choose a contact, and the list of contacts is already synced with your Xero account, so it will come up with all the contacts that are already existing in Xero. Or if the contact doesn't exist in Xero and you want to create it, you can also do it from this place. I'm going to choose Honey Barrett because we've already had it set up, but you can simply type in the contact, the new contact name, and add it, and HabDoc will create that contact automatically in Xero. We can choose to post it as a single line item if we know that in this case we want the whole charge to be going to let's say accountancy code. But we could also, and then obviously we can input a description. Let's say we're just going to accountancy fees. And we could simply hit publish, and that will be automatically sent to Xero. We can also split our charges if there are several charges, let's say, and we would like to see those. We can hit multiple, and you can insert, let's say, we would have some accountancy fees, and let's say of £100. Make sure that the tax rate matches the tax rate that we picked at in the boxes above. And let's say other fees, we could send it, let's say payroll. Have we got, well, let's say 255, and we'll direct it somewhere to payroll fees. And once we're happy that it all matches, our VAT is the same amount, the total. Once we're happy with the overall, this one was, yeah, 426. We hit save and close. And just check if this one was. Right. Once we've got that processed, we hit publish. And we can see we've got a message here that it was published to Xero. You can click here, view purchase in Xero if you wanted to go directly to Xero. I'm just going to switch to my Xero screen, and we're going to go to the purchase ledger and see if we've got the invoice waiting for us. I've sent it to awaiting approval, and you can see that we've got our invoice for £126. We can click into it if we want to review it one more time. We can make changes to it if we think that something was incorrectly posted. And if you look here, we've got the actual invoice that we sent, that we've processed, will be attached automatically to the transaction in Xero. We can open it, we can download it. It's ready for us there. Once we're happy with it, we can hit approve, and then obviously once the invoice is due to be paid, or it has been paid, we can go to our reconciliation screen, the bank reconciliation screen, and we can reconcile it there and match it to the transaction. So that's pretty much as difficult as HubDoc can be. I'm just going to stop my screen share. I think these are just basic features, very easy to use, very handy. Like I said, allows you to input information in various ways, be it from your computer, uploading it from the computer, sending it directly via email, using the app for any receipts or any invoices. Very simple to use, already included within your Xero. I would definitely recommend giving it a try. It can really speed up the whole process of day-to-day bookkeeping. And like I said, it's quite user-friendly. It's going to be quite an improvement, I think, to your day-to-day bookkeeping tasks. I did mention we can, yes, you can either send the document directly to the ledgers, be it sales ledger or purchase ledger, or you can create the spend money transactions where they go directly to your bank reconciliation screen. So then when you click on your bank reconciliation screen, they will automatically match with the payments or receipts. And all you have to do is just click OK, 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 reconciled. Right, let me just quickly have a look at any messages. Have we got anything? HubDoc is incredible integration. I think it is really good. It's and it's being constantly improved, And I know there's going to be a few changes happening to the layout of it. I think there are some other apps that work as well as HubDoc, and they do a similar thing. So obviously, to be competitive, Xero is going to invest more in and improve the look of it. And I think the AI is quite good with that one. Let me see what else are we having here. What is it adding to Xero? You can definitely do most of these things in Xero itself, and a lot of clients have already they just process their bookkeeping without actually using the add-on. But I've worked with Xero solely for a good few years and then started using HubDoc, and I can definitely say that it speeds up the process. It's easier to, I think, the way that Xero creates the transactions, you can upload your documents directly to Xero, but HubDoc is much more intuitive, and it definitely creates better postings. So there's less manual input. In Xero is not as good as HubDoc for doing the job for you, basically, and inputting as much information as possible already. So you can simply just click, okay, happy with that, move on to the next transaction. Yeah, I think it's definitely handy, and especially I think Xero has definitely, they bought HubDoc. HubDoc used to be an application on its own, and Xero decided to buy them outright and include them as part of their package, which means that they're not going to maybe invest into just their own solution, because HubDoc will do a better job for them. So hopefully that convinces you to give it a try. I mean, you don't necessarily have to use it all the time. You can try it, tested it out. If you don't like it, go back to your regular ways of processing. But I think with the big load of receipts, invoices, it's quite handy addition to the Xero software. I think that will be me done, unless we've got any other questions. I'm going to switch to Daniel now, and I think he will be the next one to tell us more about reporting that we can do.
Joanna, there's just a quick question coming from Roberto.
Yeah.
Just asking about
if I had a receipt
paid cash.
What option do I choose? If it was paid cash, well, the cash receipts are always a little bit tricky. We can create a cash account within Xero, similarly to a bank account, and we would then select that particular cash account if that to pay it off. If it's let's say an expense that you're going to be reimbursed, maybe we could create sort of a purchase ledger posting for that particular receipt, and then once the reimbursement has been made, then you can match it to that transaction. Or if it's a director of the company, you would probably post it to, you would choose, rather than the bank account, you would choose to post it to director's loan account. And then I think that's how we would normally handle it. Daniel, have you got any other?
No, that's it.
Ideas? I think that's how we would normally handle it. But very often, a lot of our clients will have like a little petty cash bank account.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be necessarily like a physical bank account. But if we've got that petty cash account set up, then you can top it up by creating transfers between the current account and the petty cash, and then any cash purchases will be paid off via that petty cash account. I think that's the simplest way of doing it. Okay. So excellent. I'll hand you over to Daniel now. Enjoy.
Thanks, Joanna. That's brilliant. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is the report side of Xero, because obviously after you've done all the data entry, what we tend to find is that's it, you stop, you've done your bank reconciliation, you're happy, everything's good, and then Xero isn't used to its full potential. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly share my screen as well. And so what you'll find, all the reports are found from the accounting module. And you can see there's an awful lot there. And I would advise just, for your own benefit at some point, have a look through some of these, and you may find some of them quite useful to you. If there's ones you like, you can actually star them on the left-hand side. And not only will they appear at your top favorites up here, but also if from the drop-down menu here. And with the reports, they're becoming more editable. More, you can create and design your own layouts a bit more. You can edit the layout a lot more than you used to be able to do, and that in turn will help produce a report that you may be able to use and make more sense of. And so what I'm going to do is run through the profit and loss report. Is one of the key reports that you should really, if you're look at a business performance, this is one of the key reports that you should go into. And so once you're in the selected report, so the profit and loss report, you'll see to the left-hand bottom side an edit layout button. Simply clicking on that takes you to the complete layout of your profit and loss. And you can see this one's actually a rather large, full detailed profit and loss with quite a lot of turnover narratives. And what you simply want to do is design it and create it to be more manageable to yourself. So what you can do to start with is you can group transactions all in one lump sum if you don't need to see a full breakdown. So what I'm going to do, if you left click on any of the transactions on the left hand side, you can hold down the shift key to group them, or if you hold down the control key, you can group individually. Once you've selected the entries that you're happy you want grouped, it's a simple case of hitting the group selection on the right hand side there and giving it a name. Once you enter those, you'll see that all of those entries have gone into a group and now taken away from the transaction. So you can group everything together. When you're doing your expenses side of things and you're doing a profit and loss report that you might be reporting to senior members on, they might not want to see 5 or 6 different expenses. For property expenses, they may want to see just a summary of those expenses. So what you would do is, again, using the control key on property expenses, there's the insurance, holding down the control key, property repairs, let's say rent costs, let's do refuse, rent. Again, all those grouped together. You're up to the top corner over here, group the selection, property expenses, and then just simply, once you've entered it, come out of there and you'll see those transactions in there. And then from there, also, if you wanted to add or move things into that category, you can now simply click on the left button of your mouse, and now you can just drag it into that section, into that group, and that moves it into that group. And again, you can always open it up to see what you've got included in there. So now when you run the profit and loss report, you won't have those 5 or 6 individual lines. They'll all be summarized nicely within property expenses. And it just, allows you to build a report that makes more sense to you rather than a full detailed, full-blown report. The other main feature of this report is you can add formulas, which is extremely handy if you're ever doing, let's say, corporation tax calculation, if you want to look at a certain GP percentage. There's various formulas you can do. To add that in, what you need to do is you'll have up the top here in the profit and loss bar, you click on the row, you can add a formula. And then that formula, let's do that again somewhere I can actually see it. So that formula then can be moved around anywhere within the profit and loss report to create the formula. So I'm going to drop mine right to the end here. I'm going to make a provision for corporation tax so that when I run a profit and loss report, I can estimate what the corporation tax will be. Any items that you group becomes available from an insert menu over here. So on the right hand side, within our formula, clicking here, it's a very simple basic sum, but what you can do is from the drop down menu, add any of the group totals. So you'll see there's none of the individual lines, but anything that we've grouped, i.e. the property expenses, does become available to add into the formula. So for my calculation, I actually want depreciation expense in the formula. So I'm going to group that selection with nothing else, just so I can get the formula running. And then to come into the formula, it is a simple case of inserting and then just using the standard maths tools here. So I'm going to say, I want the profit before taxation, just picking up from down here. I then want to add back my depreciation. And then I'm going to divide by 100 and times 19. Forgive me, I've forgotten the brackets. Oh, and I also forgot to give it a name. So once you've given it a name and you've got the formula in there, when you come to producing the profit and loss report, you've now got this formula working within here that will obviously, in this case, estimate your profit and loss, but you can stick a formula anywhere within the profit and loss to do other calculations. So another formula would be dropping it up here, the more common one, sticking it here and doing a gross profit percentage. So there's various things that you can use to prove it. Once you're happy with the layout, you can literally update the layout. Let's delete that out of the way. And it sends you back. I've got that hidden formula somewhere. Apologies, just trying to find the extra formula I put in there somewhere. Let's see. Cancel that for a minute. Apologies, there was just an issue with my formula there. So I'll just go in and recreate that formula. Okay, and then once the formula is working, you just literally click on update. And there you'll see at the bottom there that the formula's come in. It's calculated the CT provision. We're actually making a loss here, so it's certainly irrelevant on there. But as I say, it's all about customizing this to show exactly how you'd want to present the profit and loss, to use it as a tool for your own calculations. And most importantly, look at the figures that are on here, because you're using Xero anyway. Why not come in here and utilize this so you can see where your profits are, where your losses are your figures what you think they are. Profit and loss is a very powerful report in itself without any editing, but it's definitely worth utilizing and looking into. Once you have this report and you've put in provisions, you then also get the option to add notes. So if you are actually a manager here and you were producing this report for senior officials or senior members of the team, you get the option to insert content, and that's again from the bottom left hand menu, and you can enable a note. Once you've enabled the note, anywhere you go on the left hand side, you get to add a note to the figures. So I'm going to take sales as an example. I'm going to give it a note. Give it a bit of description. And now I'm just saying I've raised the credit notes raised of £250 after the year end, not in our profit and loss, but we wanted to make a note about it for management. I click on done, and you'll see it appears at the bottom, and a little number 1 appears there. And you can continue adding notes all the way through anywhere you like, and they'll appear there. You do have the option, if you prefer, to move that note to the top by hitting the overflow menu here. You get to move up, and now you'll see the note sits on top of the profit and loss. And again, it just tells you exactly what we put in there. Once you're happy with that report and everything's as it should be, If you want to use this report again, don't forget you've got the Save As option down here, and you can save as and click Custom Report. That saves the report so that you can then use the same report with the same formulas in month after month. If you wanted to keep this report to send to management without the figures changing or anything moving, then you've got the option in the Save As tab, Publish. By publishing this report, you are saving the report exactly as it is. And then you can invite management or team members to come in and look at the report. It comes up with the basic information, as you can see, and you simply click on Save to save that report. Once that's done, these reports can be retrieved by going to Accounting, then Reports, and then across the top here, there's your custom report. And there's your published reports. And depending on the people's privileges, you'll be able to, whoever's got the privileges to see reports can then see that information. As I say, the profit and loss is quite a powerful tool for business decisions, for looking at where things are, how things stand. So if you're doing the monthly management accounts, annotating it could be a very useful weapon, and it's all there within Xero. And say often Xero is used as a data entry tool and not so much a reporting tool, but I think it's quite important that you look into that and it can be used. And then alongside the profit and loss report, one of the other good reports that Xero can do is the budget report. So the budget report, again, within the reports tab. And here is the budget manager. Again, you can star it so it appears on the top there. And also now if I click on accounting, you'll see it in the budget manager there. So the budget manager allows you to create, obviously, your budgets for the year, plan, have a look at your forecasted profits. It will start the date from the date here. So you can start a budget from January if you wish, and it will allow you to enter from January. You've got at the moment with this setting here, you can see that we've actually got the actual figures for October, November, December, because we've asked for it. We can get rid of that. We don't need any of that. But if you want to see what was coming up to the period that you're doing the budget for, you can do, just as a useful tool. I'm going to get rid of it. So I'm just looking at the budget for this 2023 year and planning. Please also note there's a period here. This period, 3, 6, 12, or 24 months, is the length of time that you're drafting this budget for. And the figures will automatically fill in across the number of periods that you're putting it in for. All you need to do is simply go into any box, and in the first box, put in an amount. So I will copy that 1,000 for the moment. As soon as you put an amount or you enter into the first box, you get a green arrow. that green arrow gives you 3 options for how to do the formulas going across the rest of the page. So the first option is to apply a fixed amount to each month. So here we're saying we're going to put £1,000 and that income is not going to change through the 12 months. So apply that. Automatically 1,000 will appear in every single box going across. But what we can do, alternatively, if we start with sundry income and we say, actually, it's going to increase by a set amount each month. Estimation of £25, it's going to go up each month. So again, you'll see there that we've now got this £25 increment going up all the way through the report. And then the final thing is a percentage. So again, we've got the first option, a percentage, and we're saying that the percentage is going to increase by 10% each month and go through. So they're the 3 main methods of getting the figures going across. But you also have the option, of course, of whacking in just figures without putting anything. You can ignore that, and you can just drill in if you have a variety of reports. Once you're happy that the figures are as you expect, you can click Save. And that will save your budget report to be used elsewhere, which I'll briefly show you on, but it won't be in part of the presentation today. But you also have an option to create further budgets there. So if you're looking at various like worst case, best case scenarios, you can come here, you can create a new budget. And then off you go again. And then when it comes to the reporting side of things, you can select each of these cases. So build your reports based on those. As I say, once you have the budget in place and you use the budget manager, we will probably have another presentation at a later date in more detail about how you would really utilize them. But back in accounting and back to reports. A couple of basic ones here under the financial budget, financial performance module. You can have a look at your budget summary. So obviously this has been created from the data I've just put in to give you a rough idea of profits. And again, you can select the various ones and update. There's nothing in there, so going back to that. Or you have the option of the budget variance. So this is taking your actual profit and loss figures, comparing it to your budget figures, and creating a report, again, as a management tool. So the management can look into anything that was unexpected, expected, and a real good tool. And as you can see, as always, you've got the edit layout button down the bottom hand side, so that, again, you can customize this report. Slightly more detailed on this one, but similar processes. You can add in rows, formulas, you can group transactions. And then update the layouts. Okay, and then one more report that I wanted to show, because all the lots of clients with customers and aged debtors will use it, but there's a couple of tabs that sometimes clients don't realize are there, or some options that they don't realize are there. So I just wanted to show you the age receivables detail report. So this is your age debtors report or age receivables report in full detail. And Natalie, shortly after my presentation, will be discussing with you some of the quicker ways of sending out debtor emails. But if you are part of the debt collection team, one of the quick tools that you can do on here, and it is very simple, is simply add columns with more information. So in the columns tab over here, from the drop down menu, you can add the primary person, you can add a phone number, a mobile number, you can update that. And then what that does is give you a contact number, a contact name on one report that's easy for contacting the debtors. You can also insert text boxes and add boxes again, wherever it might need to be. So you can add notes pretty much anywhere. So if you and a colleague were debt chasing and you wanted to add a note here, paying next month, that's done. And again, you can see the notes at the bottom, the numbers at the top. And if you click on the number, you can see the note there. So I'll just pop into have a look at the chat and see if there's anything on that, or if anyone has any questions on any of the reports. But let's say I do think it's quite the reporting module. Once you're using Xero to its full potential, there's definitely some added advantage to coming in here and running a few of these reports, especially for management purposes, especially looking at profits, having an estimation of corporation tax, etc., etc. There's so many reports in here, and it's just a case of come in, have a look, and see if any of them can be utilised. Speak to the Honey Barrett team; they might be able to guide you on certain reports and editing them. But do come and have a look. Stop sharing my screen for now. If there's no questions, I will pass over to Natalie.
Thanks, Daniel. Right. Hi, everyone. As Joanna and Daniel have introduced themselves, I am Natalie. I am Senior Doctor's Practice Drafter in Bexhill, and like Daniel and Joanna, I have got about 8 years experience with Xero. So hopefully my little bit is just going to be going through some additional little features that you may or may not know about. So following on from Daniel's talking about debt collection, I am going to show you how to set invoice reminders. So this is quite a handy little tool. So if you click on business and invoices, you can see that there is a little button there that says about invoice reminders. Now this is quite a little handy tool as it takes out some of the admin work, which makes things a bit simpler for you. So to set this up, all you need to do is go in here and click on invoice reminders. Just very quickly, as you can see, in most of your screens, you will have a little Xero video that will help if you need to learn any additional bits. Okay, so on invoice reminders, once you're in it, as you can see, they preset some invoice reminder emails and when they may be going out. You can edit this as much as you like. So if I click on this one, you can see that they've got due in and overdue by. You can tailor the preset template that they have put in there for you, and all you have to do is save it. When they send invoice reminders, you can tick the additional boxes here. The first one allows for a quick link to any online invoice and the details. The second one, obviously, as it states, you can include the PDF version of the invoice. And then the third option is an option whereby if you don't send out invoices under a certain amount, you can preset that. This is quite straightforward. Again, once it's set up, it makes things a lot easier. So I'm going to set that to no, don't send any in reminders out for under £50 and save that. And if I go back into my invoices, it will now send them out when I want them to. You can select customers whereby you don't want invoices going to, and it's as simple as just clicking on an invoice. And under invoice options, just say turn off reminders. And there we go. It's now turned off all reminders for Mr. Smith. So if I can go back into invoices, it will then show you on the reminders side here that it's been turned off for him. So again, very straightforward and simple to use, but a very handy tool to save some admin time of chasing people up. Very next little bits that I find quite useful is tracking options. Now, tracking options is a very handy tool if you've got a business whereby you want to keep an eye on certain things. One of them, for instance, is like if you've got various branches or departments, you can set these up and then you just need to allocate transactions to these so that you can keep an eye on them. So the easiest thing to do is go to Accounting and Advanced. And down the left-hand side here, you've got tracking categories. Now, with tracking categories, you can only have only up to 4 categories. 2 of them can be active and 2 of them can be archived. You cannot have any more. So that's the only downside, is you can only have a limited number of tracking categories. However, within each tracking category, you can have up to 100 options. So as you can see here, I've set up one already for branch, and I've just very simply called them East, North, South, and West. And again, all you need to do is hit Add Tracking to add another one. Okay, simple as. So what happens now that you've set it up? I'm just going to use going from the bank as an examples. So I'm going to go into my reconcile. Okay, now I'm going to use this Mr. Smith here, and all I'm going to do is put in here the details. Now, this is where the little branch comes up. So you can see here it's now got branch, and I'm going to allocate it. Now, it's not just on here. If you hit Add Details and expand it, it will have the additional column here to select which branch you want. Okay. I'm going to save that and reconcile it. Okay, I'm now going to pick an additional one. Okay, just so I can show you on the report how it would look. Okay, so once you've obviously allocated enough to various of these tracking codes, all you need to do then is to have, if you want to look at them, if you go to Reports and Profit and Loss, and what you'll see is Compare Branch down the side here. Okay, so if I can click on Compare Branch, I'm going to change my year end. Okay, and hit update. And there we go. You can see the 2 transactions that I've allocated to the branches. Okay, like I said, this is a very handy tool if you need to compare anything. Obviously, the unassigned is where you've not obviously been assigned to a branch, and which you can either go through or leave them as they are. Okay. All right. So again, that is as simple as it gets for tracking. Again, as Daniel pointed out before, you can save as a draft, as published. If you want to, then that is it for the for what you want to report on, and then send to any of the higher and upper management. And if you need to, you can always export. There's PDF, Excel, Google Sheets, the works. So easy enough. And again, as Daniel's pointed out, you've got edit layout and you can insert content. Okay. Now, very quickly, the next one I'm going to just jump on board with is missing bank statement lines. This is something that comes up very frequently. Sometimes there is no rhyme or reason why statement lines have not been imported. But again, there are 3 easy fixes. Right, so the first one that we have is basically where you may have accidentally deleted a bank transaction line. Okay, and it's quite easy to fix. In this instance, I've done one before. So if you click onto the bank name, you'll come into account transactions. If you find the bank statements tab, as you can see, there's a line that's been deleted. Or as simple as ticking it on the left-hand side and hit restore. This will then come back onto your reconcile screen for you to reconcile at a later date. The second option is basically where, for whatever reason, a day or more's transactions have not been imported. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to go into your bank and download a CSV report of the transactions. And then once you have that, you come back into Xero. Under Manage Account, there is an import statement. And you can get to that from wherever in Xero. What you'll need to do next is download the Xero's CSV bank template. You'll need to then copy the transactions from what you've downloaded from the bank onto the Xero's template, save it, and then upload it into here. If you click on next, it will then tell you how it's allocated all the columns. The next step after that will be a case of, it will say this is what we've imported and if there's any problems. Once you've imported it, then you'll have all your bank statements in Xero from there. It's quite simple. The only thing is you need to make sure that you check that this bank balance here matches to your actual bank statement. So keep an eye on that one as you go forward. Right, the third option is for sorting out any missing lines on transactions. Is the easiest way I find is going to clicking on there, on the bank name, being in the account transactions, and then clicking on the new transaction button. You can get to that from anywhere. There's usually a plus sign up here, which means you can then add or spend money. These ones will go to the bank, but I prefer this way. So if you click on new transaction, and I'm going to put in, let's go, for instance, today's date. Now, very quickly, nice little tip, if you need to add things very quickly without a calculator, I go 15 plus 15. I know it's very expensive bread. It's for a meeting. And hit to refreshments, and then save. Right, so it's there now. But this way doesn't automatically put it into your reconcile screen. You need to manually reconcile this. Now, take a note over here on this little bit where it's got remove redo, and at the moment there's no item selected. You need to enable an additional button on this screen. And to do that, you need to click on the help. And then at the bottom, move it to the middle here, there's an enable mark as reconciled. You tick that, and then a magic little more button appears. Okay, it's got two options. One is mark and reconciled and an unmark as reconciled. So I'm going to mark this one, manually mark this one as reconciled, because I know it's gone through the bank, but it hasn't come on the reconcile screen, but I've added it in. So you tick it, you hit more, and then you mark as reconciled. That will just be a little warning, but it's absolutely fine, and just hit mark as reconciled again. Okay. Right, so those are just a few of the little extra bits in the background that hopefully will make a bit of admin time easier with various things. I'm going to make a quick note. Last week, Daniel, Joanna and myself were on a Xero product update course, and they have informed us, which I'm now informing you, that if you're still using old reports, so if I go into reports, the old version, old style reports are now going to be retired on the 31st of July this year. So if you're using those ones, please start looking at the newer versions, so you don't find yourself in a position where you need to then at last minute look at the new ones. I don't know if any of you use Workflow Max. It's an additional program, but if you do, just so you are aware, that will be retiring next year in June. So again, you may want to start looking at the additional apps to find something similar. I don't know if any of you use any foreign currencies, but that'll be on the premium Xero package. If so, just so you know that they have now added features in for reporting on foreign currencies. So again, that will hopefully make things a lot easier for you. And they've added two new reports last week. We've got a general ledger detail and a general ledger summary. Again, I don't know how many of you use those, but that's quite handy. And then lastly, I know it might be a very small, simple thing, but I like these little things because they make my life a little bit easier. They have introduced on the bank reconciliation a auto refresh for transactions. So what that means is when you've got similar items, you can then just, once you've entered the detail onto one transaction, it will copy the transactions through to the various similar transactions as well. So very quickly, we have here, so as you can see, we've got two central parking transactions here. So I'm going to use this one as an example. Okay, and I'm going to put it to travel. Select a branch just for the sake of it. Now watch, as I reconcile that one, this one here will then automatically fill. Okay, so it's a nice little new feature. I'm quite excited about it. I don't get excited about much. And hopefully that might make things a little bit easier for you. So hopefully that is, if there's anything on those, just shout. There is loads of little features, but obviously just looking at the time and stuff, we haven't got, we could be here all day going through all the little bits. I'm just looking at the comments. Yes, there will be a recording. We will get that all out to you, and there's also notes if you haven't downloaded them already, but we will send those out with the recording, so you have those as well. Hopefully that was hopefully that helped, and I'll pass back to Daniel for you.
Thanks, Natalie. That was really good. Hopefully you lot have found this useful, the topics and discussions useful. let's say we're part of the Xero team at Honey Barrett, are here to try and help you use Xero better, to get more help and support out of the software, and just in general, we're here for any sort of Xero queries or anything that you may have. One thing just to also mention is that we do have a Honey Barrett YouTube channel. And on that YouTube channel, if you Google search it, you will find previous webinars that we've done, and actually the bank reconciliations, and we go into much more detail and show a demonstration of how you can fix those, because it is one of the common things that unfortunately does tend to happen, the bank dropping out. But also on that YouTube channel, there are plenty of other videos and demonstrations that may become useful to you. So I would just say thanks for watching us today. If there is any more questions, please do throw a question into the chat box or open up your mic now, and we'll be more than happy to answer questions. But otherwise, hope you have a good day. And yeah, just remember, if you've got any Xero queries and you're part of the Honey Barrett, to drop us an email, and we're more than happy to help at any stage.